Today we're at one of Canada's most historic golf courses, Mississaugua Golf and Country Club, where legends have staked their claim and generations of members have played in awe of one of the country's truly great golf courses. Today on SCOREGolf TV, it's Mississauga.
This is Score Golf, the voice of Canadian golf. Score Golf is powered by Volkswagen, from one good drive to another. Now, here's your host, Bob Weeks.
Hello everybody and welcome to SCOREGolf TV. Well, this week we are at the Mississaugua Golf and Country Club, one of the most historic courses in all of Canadian golf. Just about every big event in Canadian golf has been held here, including 6 Canadian Opens, and the list of winners is very impressive. Walter Hagen, Sam Snead, Gene Littler, and on it goes. There's one great player here who came agonizingly close to winning the Canadian Open as well, and we'll tell you about that a little bit later in the show. We'll take a tour around this beautiful course. We'll get some help for our game from the director of golf here, Scott Dixon, and I'm going to get to play a hole of golf here at this course with the guy who scored the greatest goal in Canadian hockey history. We'll tell you about that a little bit later, but to kick things off this week, let's chat with a few PGA Tour players.
Prospective, meeting today's PGA Tour stars.
This year we've been talking with pros about the mistakes amateurs tend to make out on the course. Obviously, coming from the best players in the world, this is good advice that can help you improve your game.
I think amateurs make the big mistake of feeling like they want to hit the ball better all day, but I feel like if they just work on their short game more, their chipping and their putting to get a better score on their round, they would feel a lot more better. They'd feel better about themselves, and I think that the whole reason for that is just to go out there, practice short game, practice putting, shoot a better score to make them feel better about playing the game of golf.
Well, most of them are here about 3 hours before their practice time, practicing, hitting balls, putting. And I usually say to them, what do you usually do? And they usually say, well, we have a bite to eat, a couple of drinks, and we go play. And I said, well, there you go. It'd be like us turning up and just going straight to the tee. We'd never do that. You just do what you normally do.
Underclubbing, amateurs always coming up short and always trying to take less club and trying to hit it hard. Just tell them to try and hit a club that you can land on the top of the flag, and it might last for the rest of that round, and then they'll throw it out the window. But I feel like I've helped anyway.
I see the best results out of amateurs when you can get them to relax. It's not about that. I'm off 15 and I should be better. Well, you're not. Work with 15. Find little ways. I don't really give tips much when I play pro-ams. If I can see a putting tip or see a person moving a lot during the putting stroke or things like that, they're the things that they can take home and remember and do. But swing tips and put your grip here and that are very, very difficult. Rhythm is probably one that's pretty thrown out the door, and that usually comes back to tension. So if you can get them to relax a bit, the rhythm of even a guy with an ordinary swing can come good.
They try shots that are too hard to hit, instead of chipping it where they could be putting it from just off the green, just little stuff like that. They try to make it too hard where just simplify everything would be a lot easier.
They never usually have good finish positions. They're usually on their back right foot and their back heels and kind of moving all around. They just don't have very good bounce. If they really just try to hit the club solidly from the sweet spot and not swing too hard and just have a good bounce and good finish position, it can make up for a lot of mistakes.
You got that? Balance, rhythm, relax more, and don't try to hit the perfect shot every single time. You notice not one pro mentioned anything about gear? Well, you'd be surprised at how many of these guys depend on new technology to improve their game.
I'm still one of the last few guys using a 2-iron, and I sort of tried to fill in a 5-wood in there. I'm not a hybrid guy. I do think hybrids are good for the game, and I think a lot of guys that use them well, it's an asset that I wish I had, but can't seem to find one. But ever since college, I've used a driver 3-wood, then 2-iron through wedge, and a couple sand wedges.
Well, the golf balls changed a lot. They built the new drivers around the golf ball. So I feel like the driver has changed the most in my bag, the woods. And I'm still playing a blade iron, so they haven't really changed a lot. The same style putter, but the drivers definitely are built now to really spring, to really go a long way, and much more length, much more accuracy, and that's been the biggest initial difference in my bag.
Thing keeps making better stuff, and I keep using it. I've been using the S56s for a while now. It's maybe your wedges change a little bit, maybe a different bounce and stuff like that. But you grow up, you get stronger, you get bigger, and things change a little bit, but not too much.
After this break, Score Golf will showcase one of Canada's oldest and most historical golf courses, Mississaugua Golf and Country Club. Well, it's always held a prominent position in Score Golf's top 100 course ranking. And when you think about it, there are not many courses in this country that can combine the classic layout of Mississauga with the rich, rich history. Let's take a closer look right now at the Mississauga Golf and Country Club. Located just west of Toronto, Mississauga Golf and Country Club is a beautiful 18-hole course situated along the banks of the Credit River. With a history that stretches back over 100 years and includes 6 Canadian Open championships, Mississauga is truly one of Canada's most famous golf clubs. There's so much to discuss when focusing on the historic course, from the incredibly manicured fairways and the elegant clubhouse that peers over the valley holes, to the world-class Canadian Open champions, whose name graced the wall behind the first tee box. Everywhere you look, there is something amazing to be seen at Mississauga Golf and Country Club. The club dates back to 1906, with the first 18-hole course laid out in 1909. Just a few years later, the clubhouse was constructed for $30,000, and that same clubhouse is still in full use today. In 1928, the great Stanley Thompson lengthened the course in order to prepare it for the 1931 Canadian Open. One of the club's earliest members was the legendary Ada Mackenzie, who was just a teenager when the course opened. It was at Mississauga where Mackenzie honed her skills that would lead her to become a member of the Canadian Golf Hall of Fame and go on to start the Ladies Golf Club of Toronto. Mississauga continued to prosper over the years, and in 1931 it hosted the Open Championship, the first of 6 that would see some of the world's best golfers visit the course. That year, Walter Hagen went on to win the title after playing a 36-hole playoff against Percy Allis, father of noted broadcaster Peter Allis. Just 7 years later, Slammin' Sammy Snead went on to win the 1938 Canadian Open. In 1942, Craig Wood won the title, giving Mississauga 3 champions who are all current members of the World Golf Hall of Fame. While Mississauga would go on to host 3 more national championships, perhaps the most memorable came in 1965, when Jack Nicklaus was looking to win the one title that would elude him throughout his career. However, the 537-yard 12th hole, known as the Big Chief, doomed Nicklaus's chances.
And that's a big bogey 6. Gene Littler has proven that he's still a great champion. Amongst the first to congratulate Gene is runner-up Jack Nicklaus.
That year, close to 60,000 spectators showed up to watch stars such as Arnold Palmer and Gary Player. And in 1974, the championship was played once more on the 18-hole course before becoming a fixture at Glen Abbey. And when all was said and done, Bobby Nichols was the last man standing. While the history is rich with tournaments and membership growth, it's the course that's truly remarkable. With over 49 different varieties of trees lining the fairways, playing this 18-hole course can be a relaxing and friendly walk, as long as you avoid those trees, of course.
Well, it's one of the old classics, old classic layouts, small greens, well bunkered, great definition of the fairways. It forces you to control your tee ball because, again, you need a lot of accuracy hitting into the greens to control the second shots.
The first hole is just steps away from the clubhouse and begins the descent into the Credit River Valley where the majority of the course lays. The par 3 third is defended by a handful of heavy bunkers and gives golfers a fair shot at birdie early in the round. Once in the valley, you really get to see hundreds of trees scattered throughout, as they are much a part of the personality of the course as the greens and fairways. The 5th is your first look at a par 5, and it stretches well over 500 yards, and the 7th hole is the first that crosses the Credit River. The 9th hole sits next to the river, and any shot right of the fairway would disappear into the rapids of the mild river. After a quick break at the halfway house comes the beautiful par 3 10th hole. Off in the distance you can see the clubhouse overlooking the entire valley floor. The 12th is the enigmatic Big Chief, the same hole that buried Jack Nicklaus's chances twice at the 65 and 74 Canadian Opens.
Well, back in the day, this hole wasn't playing 588 yards. Back in the day, it was a little bit shorter, and players could reach in 2 shots. Unfortunately, back then, he had hit his second shot into the water, and it turned out costing him the title when you look back at the final result.
A true 3-shot par 5 today is far and few between. So most long hitters are about 100 yards into the green, and it's amazing what can happen when you got a pitching wedge in your hand and a little bit of water in front of you.
The 13th careens back across the Credit River, making this drive a difficult one. Too hard and you may find yourself again in the water, while another 140 yards awaits you on the other side of that river. The 15th is perhaps Mississauga's most memorable, as it's the final valley hole. It requires a good tee shot onto a relatively tight fairway, setting up a short iron demanding precision into an elevated green.
I think as a short par 4, changing it up off the tee, it really puts a different club in your hand and it makes you think a little. The elevated shot into the green is always a challenge. Having a blind hole location presents unique challenges, so a little different.
You'll see me on this hole as I take on the great Paul Henderson a little later in the show. Holes 16, 17, and 18 are played adjacent to the clubhouse, and the 18th carries you home as you finish on a green neatly bunkered by a pair of traps that requires you to make a tough shot to play for a birdie. In addition to an incredible history and a beautiful course, Mississauga has a great practice facility with an enormous driving range, putting green, and chipping location to help improve your game. Like any other club, there are wonderful amenities here, like tennis courts for people who prefer to use rackets over golf clubs. And come winter, the Rockhounds get swept up at the curling rink, which boasts 6 sheets and a very modern-looking arena that was actually built back in the late 50s. While golf seems to be the foundation to one of Canada's oldest and most celebrated clubs, it's the culture of the membership that seems to keep this club together and looking ahead to the next 100 years of success.
Well, I think when you make that turn off Mississauga Road and come through our stone gates and onto the property, you realize you're somewhere special. And that feeling continues as you go into our Tudor-style clubhouse. Everything from the staff to the surroundings to the terrace room where you're looking out onto the beautiful vistas of the golf course. It really feels like a special place. But what really makes the club is the membership. And in my opinion, we have the friendliest, most sophisticated, great group of members here that any club could ask for. They treat each other with respect, they treat the staff with respect, and they are incredibly welcoming to new members coming in as well. With a club of this tradition and culture, our long-standing members are very welcoming to our new members coming in.
Mississauga Golf and Country Club is truly a jewel in Canada's golf landscape, one that will forever be known for the rich history of national championships played here and for its incredible valley holes surrounding the Credit River Valley. When we return, I'll tee it up with one of Canada's hockey heroes and Mississauga member, Paul Henderson. I'm joined now by the most famous member here at Mississauga, so I'm told. Look at this, it's legendary Paul Henderson, the man who scored, of course, the most famous goal in hockey history. Of course, a great Leaf player, and also, I understand, a former club champion here at Mississauga. What's more thrilling, scoring that goal or being the club champion here?
Well, the club championship was right after '72, I'll tell you. It was a big thrill in 2004.
You've been here, as you said, since '74. What's the best part about, what do you like about being a member here at Mississauga?
Well, it's just such an oasis. The water goes through it, the picturesque. I just love it. And I tell people, if I had one game left, I'd play Mississauga. That's how much I love the golf course.
And you do play out here a lot. You're, from what I hear, you're out here pretty regularly.
I can play a little golf. It's tough to do, but I force myself to do it.
And what's the secret to playing well here?
Hit it long, hit it straight.
That's easy, right? You've obviously played with a lot of hockey players. You've played golf, with a lot of hockey players. Any of them standouts in your mind?
Oh, there's some really good players. Gary Lehman played for the Leafs here. Excellent. He hits it like the pro. Lemieux is a couple of handicap. Dan Quinn. Pierre LaRouche, some of the guys played on that celebrity tour. Really good players.
Of course, Dan Quinn spends some time caddying for Ernie Els.
Yes, he does.
Their buddies down there. Have you ever thought about trying to join that celebrity tour?
Are you kidding me? I like to eat.
I have to ask you about the most famous goal. Does ever a day go by when someone doesn't talk about it?
Yeah, this is the odd day. If I don't go out of my home, then I do. But it's an amazing thing. And the great thing I love about it, there's no negative to it. Like we were at the Masters, you know, people yelling from the crowd, even at the Masters. And so, yeah, it was the only thing I did in 18 years, so I got to have something to fall back on.
You had a great career and, of course, spent a lot of years with the Leafs and stuff. You must still get reminded of that.
Oh, sure. I love playing in Toronto. I think my personality suited Toronto very, very well. And actually, the reason I'm a member here, Ernie Lewis was our team doctor. And he brought me out here to play a game of golf. And that day I went up and got papers to join. And so I've been here 38 years now.
Well, 38 years. Well, you must know something about the course, and you want to show me how to play this hole?
Sure,
All
love
right,
to.
let's go play.
Okay, down the center is good, Bob.
Just like he called it. What a shot. Boy, this is going to be a tough act to follow. I hope I can get it airborne. Let's see.
Good ball.
Okay, we'll find those and we'll play them from there. Okay, Paul, we're here for the second shot now. Just before I let you hit this in tight and beat me, I know you will. What do you like about playing the golf course itself?
Well, I like everybody. I love the trees. I love the tree-lined fairways most of the case. The fall, you see the salmon coming up the river.
Really?
We've got deer out here. We've got coyotes. So it's really just a walk on the park, really.
Now this shot, we're playing up to the elevated green here. What's your advice here?
Well, it usually plays a little longer, probably about 7-8 yards longer because it's uphill. So.
Okay.
The thing is, don't be short on those traps. You're better off being a little longer than short.
Okay.
And it's a easier pin today. It's a deep pin, so you got lots of green. The most difficult shot is when they put it right at the front, false front there, and then you can get into trouble pretty easily.
Okay, well I'll let you go first and show me the way.
Okay, thank you.
Looks pretty good. Yep. Okay.
That'll be okay.
Safe, I think.
Yep. Well, neither one of us hit the green.
Yeah, I like yours a lot better than mine, though. I'm not liking this one too much. Okay, let's see what I can do here.
Get down there.
Whoa, I got it on anyway.
Get down there. Good shot.
I'll take it.
Oh, that's not bad.
Show me how it's done now. Oh, that was silky. Silky, don't go in. Oh, we almost had an accident. We almost had an accident.
Haven't done a thing since '72.
No. Got caught in my skirt. Thanks, Paul. I appreciate it. It was very good.
Guys. Thank
you have a wonderful course here. Well, the big chief hole here, of course, is where Jack Nicklaus lost the Canadian Open. It's a par 5. He tried to go for it in 2 and came up a little bit short. Now, perhaps if he'd heard this tip from Director of Golf here at Mississauga, Scott Dixon, about how to generate power, he might have made it over onto this green.
Swing School, lessons to help you play better golf.
Hi, my name is Scott Dixon. I'm the Director of Golf here at the Mississauga Golf and Country Club. We're presently standing on the 12th tee, 588 par 5, commonly known as the Chief. Today I'd like to speak with you regarding adding some spark plugs into your golf swing, creating more potential energy. There's a 90-degree angle rule in golf. In fact, there are 3 90-degree angles that we like to look at. The first one is a 90-degree shoulder turn, or torso turn that I like to call it. We must rotate into our backswing a minimum of 90 degrees to create our potential energy and maximum club head speed. If you are limited with flexibility, then I ask you to simply rotate your hips a little bit more. You may even want to flex or straighten your right knee a bit into the backswing for right-handed players. For lefties, it would be our left leg. The second 90-degree angle would be the hinging of the wrist into the backswing. As you swing the club back, the wrist should hinge at a 90-degree angle. That creates more leverage. Then at the top of the backswing, the third and final 90-degree angle I'd like you to consider is the 90-degree angle formed with your right arm. For lefties, it would be your left arm. This, when at 90 degrees, is going to maximize your width in your backswing. Put these ingredients all together, increase your potential energy. That will allow you to swing the club as fast as you possibly can. For more help on your golf game, please see your local PGA professional.
Around the corner, we'll wrap up another episode of Score Golf, but not before we show you a lighter side of golf.
Now, the lighter side of golf, brought to you by Michelob Ultra. Michelob Ultra, now available in Canada.
All right, you guys got everything ready to go? Hi, I'm Liam Mucklow with the Golf Lab, and we're out here with the lab rats today at beautiful Angus Glen. We're going to be doing some applied research to help everybody out there hit the ball farther. Most of us get way too concerned with swing speed and trying to swing it harder, when what we should be trying to do is hit it better. The first thing you can do to hit it better is have better balance. So today we're going to walk you through a 3-step process on how to have better balance. Step 1 is actually to take our feet away. So you can see here, I'm down on my knees, and we're going to get used to hitting a few shots. It'll get you used to what a stable golf swing feels like and help you use your body more to turn through the ball. All right guys, looks like we got everything we need from step 1. So step 2 in improving our balance is actually going to be to raise our center of gravity higher up off the ground than normal. This is going to give us a greater level of consequence for any imperfections in our balance during the swing. Sam, tee me up. All right boys, give me some space. All right, that takes care of step 2. Let's move on to step 3. Now for step 3, to get the full challenge, we're going to raise our center of gravity and put it on an unstable surface. All right everybody, the numbers don't lie, and stability is the key for better ball striking, higher ball speed, and more distance. Hopefully these 3 drills today, from the knees to the platform to the ball, will help you understand the importance of better balance for better drives. Join us next time for more lessons from the lighter side of golf.
Week Speaks is brought to you by Bushnell, makers of the Pro 1M and Tour Z6 rangefinders.
Well, Walter Hagen in 31 and Sam Snead in 38. There are so many great Canadian Open memories here at Mississauga Golf and Country Club. And with Golf Canada's decision to return the National Championship to historic courses, you can't help but wonder if a great course like this, or perhaps Capilano in Vancouver, or maybe the Calgary Golf and Country Club might entertain hosting an RBC Canadian Open. Now, of course, with all the density that's built up around these courses over the years, it makes it very difficult to do things such as put the parking together and host the corporate tents and villages that come with a big event like the National Championship. But as we proved with St. George's a few years ago, if there's a will, there's a way, and you can make it work if you really, really want to. Wouldn't it be great to see another Canadian Open at one of those great courses, as long as the members, of course, wanted to have it there? Well, that's all the time we have for this week on Score Golf TV. Hope you enjoyed our show here at Mississauga Golf and Country Club. Between now and our next edition, please check out scoregolf.com and read my blog, and we'll look for you next time right here on TSN.
Thanks for watching Score Golf on TSN, the voice of Canadian golf. Score Golf is powered by Volkswagen. From one good drive to another. Jack Link's Beef Jerky, Feed Your Wild Side, and Kelowna Tourism. 19 golf courses from easygoing to ego-shattering.
Clothing provided by Callaway Golf Canada.